Hey everyone, it's Yajin here, and during the past couple of days, I've heard a lot, or I've been reading a lot of comments, and people have been mentioning how lack of motivation or lack of willpower is kind of holding them back from reaching their weight loss goals. So I wanted to make a video talking about willpower, talking about motivation, and actually making a suggestion for those of you who are feeling like lacking that motivation or willpower right now, but are still interested in reaching your goals, right? Because no matter how we feel, you know, at the end of the day, we have the choice of whether or not we decide to show up to our workouts, show up to eating the foods that are healthy for us, showing up in time to get enough sleep at night to make sure our bodies are well rested so that we can show up the next day prepared, energized, and awake, ready to conquer the day there. So honestly, the thing about willpower, the thing about motivation is that a lot of the times it comes and goes, right? With motivation, it's tough for us to control when and where it shows up. And a lot of the times, motivation actually comes up after progress is already made. For example, you're gonna feel super motivated if your goal is trying to lose weight. You know, maybe you're tracking your weight on a scale, maybe you're taking your like circumference measurements here and there, and you start seeing some progress, right? Maybe one day you were at 220 pounds, a week or two later, you wake up at 210, 205. It's like, wait a second, it's working. I feel excited, I feel motivated, I want to keep on doing what I'm doing because I'm seeing progress. But unfortunately, that also means that if you're relying on motivation on its own to drive you, it's tough to rely on that because especially if you're just getting started or haven't gotten started just yet and you're not seeing any progress, it's hard to have that motivation just show up. And a lot of the times when people get like really pumped up, excited, energized, motivated to get started on a brand new program, that motivation dips and pretty much disappears pretty quickly. We can kind of look at, for example, New Year's resolutions, how so many people set a New Year's resolution to exercise, to eat better, to pay attention to their health, well-being, lose some weight, whatever it is. And by February, most of those people have gone. We've probably all seen those statistics. And excuse me, at the end of the day, motivation is just not really something that we can rely on. And when it comes to willpower now, I see willpower in kind of the same way, but also slightly different. In a lot of the habit building or habit changing books that I've read, they describe willpower as a muscle, right? Something that basically if you work and develop and improve it, it will get stronger, but it's also something that starts to decline and disappear throughout the day. For example, if I'm leaving a box of cookies right in front of me and I really want to eat a cookie, it's only going to sit there for so long before I go out and grab that cookie, right? And the same way as, I don't know if you guys have noticed the same pattern, but I think that people tend to make worse decisions later on into the day, especially into the evening and late at night. If you kind of think about your excessive snacking or like binge watching Netflix or TV or whatever it is, those things probably don't happen until later on in the day, right? Where our self-control slowly starts to wane and disappear, our willpower starts to decrease, and all of a sudden we just want to do what's comfortable, what's easy, what's right there in front of us. So in order to kind of counteract that, I'm going to give you two things to go with here. When it comes to willpower, instead of relying on willpower to make sure that you're making the right decisions, try to make your decisions in advance. And what I mean by that is, for example, if you eat out a lot and whether you don't have time to meal prep, you just have to go out to buy food, make the decision beforehand. Say, hey, I'm trying to lose weight. I'm trying to take care of my body, take care of my health a little more. Let me pay a little more attention to what I'm eating. But instead of waiting till the last minute and saying like, okay, I need lunch, what's closest, what's fastest, what's the most convenient, and what is going to taste the best for me right here, right now, you're probably not going to make the best decision when all of those things are running through your head. So, a week in advance, 2 weeks in advance, what I always recommend people do is, for example, bust out a list of foods that you like, restaurants that you like, and also the ones that fit within your goals, okay? Obviously, you're probably not going to be eating too much fast food if your goal is trying to lose weight there. But having this list in place is really going to help you out so that when it comes time to make that decision, instead of you trying to process all that information in your head, you can literally bust out a list, whether it's on your phone or an actual list you keep in your wallet or purse or somewhere. It's like, okay, I'm feeling up for this today. And you don't have to make that tough decision when the time comes. You basically decide in advance. Or same thing to my cookie example that I always make. If you don't want to eat too many cookies, don't leave cookies right on the counter in front of you, right? Because there's only so long that you can wait before you pick that cookie up, and you can really only hold off for so long. So instead of relying on willpower, try to plan in advance, distance yourself away from things that might hurt you, and make it easier for yourself to show up to things that are beneficial to you. Okay, a little more on willpower is something that I like to use. It's kind of psychological, where if you think you're just getting started in some sort of workout program and you tell yourself, I'm going to work out 60 minutes every day, that is an insane amount of time, and in your head it's going to be difficult for you to process. You might get like 2, 3, 4, 5 days on, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm super sore, I'm super tired, it's really cold this morning, I don't want to get out of bed. Instead of telling yourself, hey, I'm going to start with this big, difficult goal, just tell yourself, hey, 5 minutes a day, I'm going to go outside, go for a walk, go for a run, just 5 minutes. That is it. So that if you come home at the end of a difficult day, you're feeling a little stressed out from work, from life, relationships, whatever it is, then look, 5 minutes, you can do 5 minutes. Any one of us can do 5 minutes. But the thing is, you're almost like tricking yourself into showing up for 5 minutes. And I can be willing to bet, if you really are, if you're really trying to lose weight and it's a priority in your life, and you get yourself out there for 5 minutes, you're not just going to be walking for 5 minutes or jogging for 5 minutes. Or if you just decide to show up at the gym, tell yourself, hey, I don't need to work out if I don't want to, but if I show up, I'm willing to bet that you're going to, kind of carry forward and finish your workout, or walk a little longer than you had planned in mind, or jog a little further than you had decided. So kind of making those things easy for you when it's beneficial to you and your goals, but also making the things that are there to kind of sabotage you or hurt your goals harder for you to actually take part in. And now moving over to the topic of accountability. When your motivation isn't there to kind of pull you through, or your willpower isn't there to help you make the right decisions, this is where accountability really, really, really matters, right? And this comes down to simple things such as writing your goals down, deciding what are the metrics or the activities or the tactics that you're going to have to take part in order to reach those goals. Like, what are you going to have to eat? How often are you going to have to move? How much movement are you going to get in? What type of activities are you going to do on a regular basis? And then tracking them, right? Once you have your plan, your strategy set in place, you've decided the tactics that you're going to use, keep track of them. This could be a simple checklist on a piece of paper, okay? Or buy like one of those, or print out one of those like paper calendars and say, okay, my diet, my exercise, my sleep habits, whatever it is, and just check it off as you go. Because the biggest thing about tracking it is that you have something to refer back to when you fall off track. But also, if you're doing well, then hey, the plan is working, let's just keep on going here, right? And if you're struggling for a period of time, you can kind of look back to the calendar and say like, oh, I had a lot of trouble last week, what was going on? Is there something coming up in my life, that I have to address beforehand? I talk sometimes about like those root causes that you should address, because no diet, no exercise, no workout, no program is gonna fix a root cause problem, like too much stress or too much anxiety or depression, those kinds of things that you gotta address before you get back to the actual routine, right? And one of the most powerful things when it comes to accountability is having a partner, a coach, a buddy, a friend, just someone in your close circle that can check up on you on a regular basis. It's basically applying peer pressure, because now all of a sudden, not only have you said like, my goal is to lose 50 pounds. I'm gonna do that by X, Y, and Z. And I'm gonna report to you once every single week. I'm gonna keep track of everything that I'm doing. And then we're gonna review how I did, because all of a sudden you're placing on this layer of social pressure, or peer pressure, as some of us have heard it in the past. And the thing about peer pressure is that it can be used for good, it can also be used for bad, right? And we can kind of positively impact ourselves and place that pressure upon us to show up on a regular basis. Otherwise, we're going to disappoint our, our partner, our coach, our accountability buddy, whoever it is. But then this is kind of like the main point I want to make out of this video. Having that accountability system in place where you know what goal you're going to, or you're shooting for, you know what it's going to take to reach that goal, you're tracking it down on a regular basis so that if something does go on, you know if you're going in the right direction or you're falling a little off track and you need to switch things around a little bit, and then reporting to some sort of partner or coach or accountability buddy who can help you basically apply that peer pressure and keep you on track when things are a little rough. And it's like you had a hard day at work, you text your accountability partner and say, hey, it's a rough day, but all of a sudden now you kind of take yourself out of the moment, the position for you to make a decision that might make you feel good for the next 10 or 15 minutes. However, it's going to lead you further and further away from the goal. And your partner can come in there and say, hey, look, I know you had a rough day. Maybe we're going to take it a little easy today. However, remember, your goal is to lose that 50 pounds, and you've been working at this for months. Do you really want to let this whole thing slip and, fall off track right now? Like, we can take it easy, but remember, we still have an endpoint. We have a goal. We have a mission in mind, and having that little kind of stop to remove yourself from all the feelings that you're feeling at the moment can really make it a lot easier for you to make the right decisions in those tough moments. So that was kind of what I wanted to talk about today. When it comes to willpower, when it comes to motivation, you can work on those things. However, a lot of the times they're not reliable strategies to have. It's almost kind of like you're hoping that motivation comes up. You're hoping that willpower is going to follow through for you. But if you really want to make like permanent changes and switch up your habits and behaviors to ones that are going to help drive lasting weight loss results, then focus on building systems of accountability around yourself, and also changing up your environment into a way that is going to actually contribute to your goal. So I hope that was a little helpful to those of you who are struggling with that. If you have any questions, comments, or other topics that you'd like me to cover, go ahead, drop them in the comments below. Be more than happy to tackle those in the next couple of days here. So thank you for watching, and take care until the next one.